Today I messed up by eating a whole bag of Takis whilst in the Dominican Republic. F31, went on an all-inclusive adults-only holiday last month. Halfway through the holiday I slipped when drunk on the wet tiled floor in my hotel room. I landed on a wooden cabinet in the room and cracked my ribs, confirmed by doctors when I got home, and no, this isn't the fuck up, haha. I was feeling sorry for myself and was in great pain for a couple of days and then decided to drink it away. I had convinced myself at one point that my broken ribs would kill me and I'd never make it home, having spent an hour on WebMD. This is where the fuck up comes. We had bought a family bag of Takis from the hotel shop as we heard they were good and we're from the UK so had not tried them. We bought the chili and lime flavor and in my drunken state, I laid in bed and ate the entire family bag. The next morning I went to the toilet and I'd been suffering with dodgy bowels, likely due to the ice cubes. Well, that morning my stools were bright red and the toilet water was bright red and I had an immediate panic that my broken rib had actually punctured an organ and I had internal bleeding. I left the toilet with extreme anxiety, fast heart rate and got straight into bed panicking, thinking about ringing for an ambulance. I eventually caved and told my friend I thought I was dying and explained what happened. After some panicking, we spotted some red speckles on the bed sheets, exact same color as what came out of my bowels. I then remembered I'd eaten Takis and got the bag out the bin and matched the speckles on the sheets to the flavoring on the crisps. I googled it and apparently it's a common thing for them to turn your stools red due to the amount of food dye used, haha. I felt instant relief and went straight out to the pool to enjoy the rest of my holiday. Today I messed up by helping my uncle. My uncle is selling his treadmill and isn't very savvy when it comes to putting stuff online. I told him to take a few photos of it and I'll stop by after work and helped him post. When I get there he hands me his phone. I go on Kijiji to post the treadmill. When I go for the photos, the very first picture after the treadmill was a dick pic. I pretended that I didn't see it and continued to help him. Once it was posted I made up an excuse that I needed to stop and get some groceries so I needed to leave right away. When I got to my car I just sat there. I'm a grown adult and have received many dick pics but I never ever wanted to see that one. I didn't want most of the ones I got either, but that's beyond the point. Today I messed up by showing Rule 34 art to my college class of 200 people. I'm studying accounting in school. I fell in love with the subject my freshman year after taking an intro class. Now in my second level of accounting, I resolved to dominate the class by participating in lectures, interacting with the professor and so on. On Wednesday for homework, we had to essentially draw a diagram of the relationship between manufacturers, merchandising stores, and how their financial statements differed. We were told to have our drawings ready on Friday so we could add to them in class. I did this on my iPad using the Notes app. Friday comes along. Around 30 minutes prior to class, I'm in my apartment feeling a little horny so I open the browser on my iPad and go to Rule 34 to find some art I remembered looking at a few days prior. After I'm done, I switch to the Notes app on my tablet, put it in my bag and head to class. In class, I sit in the front row. Professor asks if anyone has completed the diagram assignment. I raise my hand. She then asks if she could use someone's as an example to explain to the class. Assured that I drew mine perfectly, I proudly offer my iPad to the professor, who puts it under the camera that displays to the entire auditorium. A few minutes in, as she's explaining balance sheets, she swipes her finger across the screen near the bottom to point to something in my diagram. Unfortunately this switches apps back to the browser. Rule 34 art on full display to the class. Professor freezes and is silent, so is the class. My heart drops and the professor looks over at me and says, how do I go back? I quickly grab my bag, jump up, grab my iPad from the lectern and walk quickly out of the auditorium. On my way out I hear some murmurs and isolated laughter. All the way back to my apartment my heart is pounding. Honestly I almost cried. I couldn't sleep all night and I never want to go to class again. Today I messed up showing my date how to play games. A couple of weeks ago I, 19M, hooked up with a girl, 22, who had insomnia. We matched on Tinder. I thought the chemistry between us was great. Our first date was fantastic. I could see myself seeing her again. However, little did I know that our first date would eventually become our final date. When we were done having sex, she asked me to show her how to play games on my Xbox so she would have something to do during the night while I was asleep. I switched on my Xbox and showed her how to play. Unlike her, I was not an insomniac, but I did my best to stay awake and keep her company for as long as possible. I eventually fell asleep though. I woke up the following morning and realized she had been playing online games with one of my friends, 25M, who somehow managed to stay awake with her all night. A week later she was playing games on his Xbox instead of mine. The two of them have been seeing each other ever since. Today I messed up by helping my boyfriend explore his sexuality. My BF hasn't had much experience exploring his sexuality until this year. Luckily he met me and I am all for the men's butt stuff, whatever. We've been experimenting with fingers here and there, and then I brought out my pink heart-shaped butt plug. Everything was fine, it was in him, jacked him off, nutted, washed up. Babe, where's the plug? What the fuck do you mean where's the plug? He thought I took it out, I sure didn't. Wasn't in the bed, not the sheets. Stuck my fingers in him and sure as shit, the heart-shaped butt plug is deep. I am laughing hysterically from nervousness as the paramedics are coming. My boyfriend doesn't want to move in case it goes deeper, so he stays on the bed. 6 very attractive paramedics arrive to inspect him butt naked laying on his back in bed. They let us know just to relax and that we could go to the hospital on our own. My boyfriend waddles to the car. At this point his leg and lower back is hurting. We were worried it had rotated and required surgery. We arrive at the hospital and get checked in. My boyfriend feels like he needs to shit after leaning forward and relaxing for a bit while waiting. He goes to the bathroom right after he is called back and the little jeweled heart-shaped plug plopped right out of his gigantic asshole. Then the nurse tells us we aren't the first and instructs us on proper butt plug usage. Did you know that some plugs are meant to be held onto?